Hey friends, today I'm gardening with Creekside. I am going to show you what happened when I left my garden for 1 week. You could not believe the audacity of my garden springing into action here in North Carolina. We went away for a week, went on vacation, family vacation up to northern Colorado, just about 30 miles from the Wyoming border, covered in snow, had a fantastic time. Came back home and my gosh y'all, spring has sprung here in the garden. We got home like 2 a.m. so I obviously did not see anything when I got home, but this morning when I woke up it was such a beautiful surprise. So I thought it would be really fun to bring you through a very informal, fun little garden tour and let me show you what is happening and what is waking up and blooming and just looking fantastic. As always, I show you my successes and my messes, because not only are my plants waking up and just coming to life with lots of beautiful blooms, so are those lovely weeds. So I'm just going to show you everything, warts and all, as you know that I do. We're standing here obviously next to the driveway, the side of the house. This is kind of that shade garden. We were just in here not too long ago when we installed the trellis for the camellia. So I thought this would be a really fun place to start. You can see that my hydrangeas are waking up. These are my macrophylla hydrangeas. Panicles still have not woken up yet. They are later to awake from their slumber. It's a great sight, but it's also a little bit of a scary sight, because if we get a late freeze, which I know we're going to, I could potentially lose some of my flower buds here on this hydrangea. We'll deal with that when it comes. Also, hopefully this camera will pick it up. My Solomon seal are starting to come up. Look, can you see that little reddish bud right there? The Solomon seal are waking up. There's some more right over here. Really fun. Love this plant. Great shade perennial. And then here is the white by the gate. Now I know these are not the huge, massive blooms that they would be. I'm just honestly glad that I got some sort of blooms, because when we had the Arctic blast that came through right before Christmas, I lost most of my buds. But I do have a couple. Yes, they're small. They're kind of on the down cycle right now, those are, but I do have just a couple more, like there's some more right here. So I'm just happy to see some sort of flowers on this sweet camellia. And oh my goodness, let's talk about Lenten roses. If you don't have Lenten roses in your garden, you really need to. Y'all, this thing is massive. I'm gonna put my hand here so you get a perspective. So that's my hand, an average woman-sized hand, and look how huge this thing is. Beautiful flowers on it. I believe this is mahogany snow. It's either mahogany snow or pink frost. This might actually be pink frost, but just gorgeous, stunning. I love this deer resistant plant, and it is an evergreen, but it's called Lenten rose because it will typically bloom this time of year, which is around Lent. Also, Let's Dance Diva. You can see she is waking up quite nicely as well. And then moving on down, the only other kind of fun little thing, well, a couple of things now that I'm getting closer, my holly fern is starting to put on some new growth. I'm gonna leave all my old growth because inevitably, like I said, we're gonna get that late frost. Hopefully this will protect the new foliage just a little bit. Do you see this? Look at that. It is a hosta coming up. Yes, it is. I have got hostas coming up right here. And then my spot on pulmonaria, look at that. She is blooming. Now my spot on is a little bit small right now because with that Arctic, Siberian, whatever you want to call it, blast, it did knock it all the way back. So this is all new foliage, but look at those sweet little blooms. Spot on is so fun because it starts out as a pink flower, a salmon colored, and then turns to that blue. Looking fantastic. And then my zebra hydrangea, another macrophylla. This is where I have all my macrophylla hydrangeas because this gets morning sun and afternoon shade. So it works really well here because it's not too sunny, it's not too hot. Tends to be a little bit more of a damp side right here, and they do really well. So come on, let's go show some other things. Brenna, of course, was super excited to have us home. We had our sweet Meredith house sat, dog sat for us. She was in excellent hands. I know y'all are wondering about what happened to Miss Brenna. So she was doing great, but man, we got home last night at 2 a.m., 1 a.m., and she was beside herself. So excited to have us home. All right, walk back here. Lots of things are happening back here that I want to share with you. So I'm going to try to go through the best I can. Sweet little violas are doing great. You will see, even though yes, I do have weeds, like what Brenna is currently eating some grass. I also have some jonquils in here. They're not wild onions. These are actually bulbs. So that is a jonquil. Now, however, did I plant a jonquil in the middle of my path? No, that is a wild onion. So keeping it real here, folks. So these jonquils are starting to come up, looking nice. My nepeta, this is the lesser catmint, and you can see that it is starting to wake up as well. I love this one because it's a pure white. And I have multiples that are dotted in here. That way my thinking was violas are doing well, the daffodils are going to bloom, and then by the time they get done and my catmint starts to bloom, it'll kind of hide the foliage of the jonquils. So the jonquils are dotted all throughout this bed. Nothing else is really waking up too much right here in this flower bed, but look over here. Love this spot. If you will remember, Jerry and I, when we planted all of those bulbs, we did a woodland mixture from, this was color blends, that I got those, and they are blooming and have been blooming. So you can see these little sweet little petite daffodils. Then there is some wood hyacinths in there. I believe there's some crocus that are starting to wake up. So lots of things. I've got a toad lily over here that's blooming. The Lenten roses, look how gorgeous they are, waking up. And as is, look at this sweet little oak leaf hydrangea right here. This is, oh shoot, y'all, the name, it's not munchkin, it's the tiniest one on the market. I'll have to think about it. So it is, but look at all that new growth right here, waking up really nicely. With your oak leaves, you really don't want to prune them. Now you can come in here and cut the old bloom head off, but this is not one that you want to come in and cut back at all. No, this is munchkin. I think that is munchkin. Yeah, ruby slippers I have somewhere else. Yes, sorry, that is munchkin. And so yeah, everything is doing great in here. Loving the Lenten roses. Again, if you don't have Lenten roses in your garden, you need to. They typically are more for shade. Do not ask me what these varieties are. They're older than dirt. I don't know, but they're beautiful. So there's tons of different varieties out there, tons of different colors. Some are more downturned like these are, and then you have some Lenten roses that will be upright. You have whites, you have pinks. Then you've got some like this that are almost what they consider like a black. And you will also notice that the honeybees, sorry, I switched too fast on you there. Go back to the black. It's really a dark purple, but it almost looks black. So those, and then this one. Look at this massive beauty. Is she not just glorious? Here's Brenna's head. That gives you a perspective of how big this thing is. Gorgeous. Clearly loves its space right here. So those are doing well. We've got all sorts of fun perennials waking up in here. There's just plants everywhere. So excited to see all this. I've got some ferns waking up. This is a woodland fern right here. You can see that new growth. I've got the Let's Dance blue jangles. Another Macrophylla hydrangea is waking up. Weeds, of course, more sweet little bulbs. Lots of fun things. And then look at my roses. Y'all, they are waking up. Of course, this is the Generous Gardener climbing rose from David Austin. You saw me prune this, but look, like we have full-on leaves right here. Nice, beautiful, dark, healthy, beautiful foliage. Now, we've had people ask about, when do you start treating your roses for whether it's the sawtooth larva fly, little teeny caterpillar that will eat the leaves and put holes in it, or like for Japanese beetles, that kind of thing. Well, since I have some true leaves on here, I'm going to go ahead and start my treatment now, because I use that. It's the Bare Advanced 3-in-1 rose and flower care. So it's a fertilizer, it is a fungicide for my black spot, and it is also a systemic pesticide for my Japanese beetles and aphids, spider mites, maybe, don't quote me on that one, and then that sawtooth larva fly. So it, fly larva, whatever, it will protect these plants. And because in the South, if you've got roses, you're going to have pests. So that is what I use. It is a granular, works wonderful. So now is when I'm going to start to use it, but just lots of foliage on that thing. Oh, it's just so exciting. And then the rest of the roses are really flushing out as well. You can see these sweet little tiny jonquils. Look at that. These were the very first ones we planted. Oh, so stinking sweet. We plant jonquils here in the South. They're daffodils, but they're the jonquilla type of daffodils because they're more better suited for our hot, humid days. Look at this gorgeous rose. They're in here by David Austin's. I have them in groups of 3. That way they'll grow together as one large, massive shrub, as David Austin recommends. This is the Roald Dahl. This is just such a beautiful, happy, look at the foliage on this, y'all. It's the end of February. Isn't that crazy? Then we have the Susan Williams Ellis, which is a beautiful double white. She is coming along quite nicely as well. This will be their second full season in the garden. And then down here at the end, we have the Poet's Wife, which is a beautiful, soft yellow, doing quite nicely. And look, oh, I just discovered this. This is the Bloomerang Dark Purple Lilac from Proven Winners. Can you see? Not only does it have foliage, it's got buds. Let's see if I can, if it'll focus on that. Look at that. It's exciting. So things that maybe are not going so well right now in the garden. The azaleas, they got hammered in the freeze. I mean, just hammered. They're not dead because I do see new green growth. I might even see some buds, but it looks like a lot of their foliage is currently gone. But look, that's a bud. So we've got flower buds on it. So probably what I will end up doing, was that a flower bud? Maybe, yes? I don't know, I think it is if they bloom or they don't bloom, either way, I'm gonna shape them up and fertilize them really well. And then you can see how thin my tea olives are. Tea olive, sweet osmanthus, it's all the same thing, just called differently. Lost a ton of leaves on these guys, but look, all of that is new growth. So it is fine. Again, I will give them a little prune later on in the season, probably about a month or so from now. You can see that new growth and they will be just fine. So update on that. But we've got more bulbs getting ready to explode in color. I know that some people are going to ask what this is over here. Of course, we've got that trough full of beautiful violas, and we also have, this is candy tuft. This is the King's Alexander. It is an evergreen. Look at that. Is that not spectacular? You need some candy tuft in your life. It is a beautiful, low maintenance plant. Super, super easy. I love this plant. I never understood really people's fascination with candy tuft because I've never grown candy tuft. Yeah, I get it now because it is a gorgeous plant. Things that I will be doing very soon. I need to come in here. It is time to prune yin and yang viburnums. Beautiful evergreen viburnums, love them. They do really well for me, but it's time to prune them. Update on the tulips. So this was a blend from Color Blends, nice bold hot colors, and they are coming up quite nicely. In fact, I see a couple of little heads. Look at that. It will not be long and we're gonna have blooms on all of these. Oh, it's gonna be gorgeous. So those are doing quite nicely. Your gardenias, if your gardenias look like mine, this is the saddest time for a gardenia. Don't worry, they're gonna flush back out. Fertilize them with a great acid-loving fertilizer like Hollytone. They'll flush out. When the heat hits, they will be just fine. So if your gardenias are not looking okay, don't worry, it's all right. Now, more rose updates, because, you know, I do love my roses. Look at this. This one was, I was shocked when I saw this one this morning. Look at that. Look at all of that beautiful foliage. Is that not gorgeous? So pretty. Here I have 3 different David Austin roses that are all in that pink family. They will roughly be about 5 feet tall each. I just got in the mail today. So excited about this. And we have talked about many times before, if you can get connected with other folks who love gardening as much as you, whether that's on social media or an in-person or a neighbor or your mom or your grandmother or a gardening club, master gardeners, whoever it is, if you can get connected with other gardeners, especially if they're kind of somewhat in your zone, it is helpful, but it doesn't have to be. They will give you some of the best tips. So my sweet friend Tina, who started out as a customer, still is a customer, but quickly became such a precious friend of mine, she turned me on, this was 2 months ago, to this nursery in Georgia, I believe. Brushwood Nursery. I'll put the link in the video description, but they specialize in clematis. So she turned me on to it because she was going to plant some clematis with her roses, because that's a good companion planting. And I was like, Dana, that's a great idea. So of course I ordered some clematis. So I ordered the same clematis. I ordered 3 of them, and I'm going to plant the same clematis on each of these trellises, because last year when I put these trellises up, I thought that I was going to try to train my roses to like go on the trellis, but they're really too far apart from each other, and I am not moving these roses back a foot. It is just not worth it. And these attach to the wall, so I can't like move them forward. But if I plant the clematis, the same one, so we'll have consistency all the way across, beautiful pink roses, even though they're 3 different kinds, it's going to be stunning. So we're going to do that this week. So stay tuned, because that's going to be a video that we are going to do for sure on that, because I cannot wait for that, because it's going to be so exciting. Also, some more roses that are like exploding. I just can't get over it, y'all. Look at Emily Bronte. She is just spectacular, isn't she? I mean, look at this. Now, this is in part of the, like my hottest part of my garden, but the foliage on this plant right now is spectacular. That is why I'm going to go ahead and do some preventative treatment so that those critters do not eat my plants. Also, Desdemona from David Austin, one of my favorite roses, beautiful rose. Look at that. Look at all that foliage. Just gorgeous. And then I just saw that my roses of Sharon are starting to wake up as well. So this is a blue chiffon from Proven Winners. It is a standard form. Can you see that beautiful green? Yep, we're waking up, people. Oh my goodness, it feels like it maybe is too early, but it's like on the early side of things waking up, but it is what it is. We were in Colorado and it was like 1 degree, literally 1 degree, and here it was like 72. Yeah, fun times. So Brenna, of course, is chewing on something that she shouldn't be chewing on. Bless her sweet little heart. I tell y'all, I love going on vacation. It is so much fun. I love going and exploring other parts of the country. It is fascinating. I think it really creates a sense of appreciation for other people and how they garden and what they go through. I personally could never live in where we were, which was like north of Steamboat, just because of 6 months out of the year you've got feet and feet of snow. They had 300 plus inches of snow this year. Yeah, this year. I love visiting it. We had the most fun. It was fantastic. But I do enjoy my green grass. I'm a Southern girl at heart, y'all. I can't help it. All right, look. Okay, so here we go. Last time we were here, we saw the Okami cherry tree. Well, she is on the downside of blooming, and she's actually putting out her green growth. So that's really fun. Kind of hate that I missed her in total full bloom, but it's all right. It was worth it. And then I do want to share with you You know what, I'm all about messes and successes, right? All right, so the dahlia patch over here, which we are going to reconfigure and move. I never dug up the dahlias. People were asking. I never dug them up. So what we're going to do is we are going to dig them up and then revamp this whole section over here. We're going to make it actually more of a bigger planting area, but the rows are going to be closer together. So yes, the dahlia patch is currently completely 100% covered in weeds. And I'm just going to show it to you, warts and all. But the good thing is that I checked the dahlias a week ago, 2 weeks ago, right before we left, and they are nice and firm. Nobody was rotten. Very, very happy about that. So of course I'll show you that, but look at these beautiful jonquils, daffodils. This is a gigantic star. I don't think we showed you this on camera. This was after Jerry and I planted. I was like, you know what? We need more we need more bulbs. And so I got gigantic star from Color Blends, but can you see how it got its name? Look how huge those are. And I think I got, it was like 1 or 2 packs of them. Actually, I think it was like 500. Yeah, 500 of them that I put in here. But look, now they're not even in full bloom yet, right? So they have just started, and they basically cover this whole flower bed filled. These are phantom hydrangeas, which I have not pruned. Yes, I know, I need to prune them because, oh my goodness, y'all, look what I see. Do you see that? Green growth, panicle hydrangeas. Okay, Jenny's gonna be doing that tomorrow. Yeah, so the panicles are starting to bud out. But in this flower bed, which is probably, I don't know, 30 feet long, maybe, I have got these big pockets, these patches full of the gigantic star all the way down through there. These bulbs were massive. When I say they were almost the size of my fist, they were huge. They were massive bulbs. We were only able to put like 5 or 6 in a hole. I was using the Power Planter auger, which was the 3-gallon bit on there. So it made nice big holes, but because the bulbs were so huge, gigantic star, I only were able to get like 5 or 6 in there. And so it was myself, Kelly, Randy, and then Jackson helped, and we just threw them in the ground. I didn't film it. I just wanted to get them in the ground. And so they are gorgeous. Cannot wait. And jonquils for us here in the South are really good because they can handle that heat and humidity, but they also will naturalize, which means they spread. So that's a very fun thing to do. So if you're in the South, you might want to look for that. But just as we walk by here on the flower beds, you can see my spireas are waking up. That's what kind of looks like a burgundy color right there. More jonquils waking up, coming up, very happy. Forsythia is starting to bloom, and I definitely will prune those this year. I pruned them some last year, but you can see just kind of how a little bit of leggy they are. We don't want that. Blueberries are doing well. Yeah, everything in here is just kind of hanging out, doing their thing, doing really well. This is the Julia Child Rose in a standard form. So you can see it's in a tree form. I do need to stake it, but she too has flushed out with gorgeous growth. Now, if you're new, my daughter Emily rescued this from the nursery, and it was sad and pitiful. You will see that it's a little lopsided, but this year I'm hoping that this side will really fill in. So we're excited about that, doing really nicely. And then it's a couple more other things that I want to show you. I planted these peonies 3 weeks ago, maybe. Look at this. Look at the Julia Rose. Look how much she's grown. Can you see that beautiful dark foliage? I did go ahead and put the peony cages up while I planted them because this was a new spot. Plus, it would keep the dog out, keep us out. So she is really growing. The Duchess d'Amours, a little slower. Don't see a whole lot there. Carl Rosenfield. Look at that. Great growth on that. And then the Festiva maxima is coming a little slower, but you know, peonies are like any other kind of plant. Certain ones will flush out and bloom earlier than others. You just have to be patient. That's fun though, because they'll bloom at different times. Now, here we go. Look. I'm telling you, y'all, warts and all, right? Here is another tea olive that really took the brunt of that Arctic blast. You can see this whole side completely defoliated, right? I mean, this thing was spectacular and has been for years. A gorgeous, beautiful, evergreen tea olive, sweet osmanthus, but that weather just completely, I mean, it just put it into shock. But look, Brenda has a toy. Look at all that beautiful new growth, right? So lots and lots of new growth. It is not dead. It is okay. Now, what I'm gonna do again is come probably end of March into April is typically when I will prune my tea olives. I will come in here and prune this one pretty severe because I need it to really put its energy back into filling out all of that growth here and not so much the height. So by coming in and pruning it, it helps keep it nice and thick and full. I've never pruned this one because it's always stayed nice and thick. My ones in the front, I will prune. I always prune every year, and they bloom on old growth. So you want to prune them in very early spring. That way they're good to go and they can put on all their new growth for your beautiful flowers come in the fall and the winter. Here is giant lamb's ear. Now, again, I'm telling you, y'all, the weeds woke up while I was gone. But here we have that giant lamb's ear. Look how pretty that is. I really wanted something nice and evergreen to fill in because obviously those are my heating and air units right there. So I don't want anything really big in case they have to come in here and work. There are jonquils in here through, I think this is yellow sailboat, that are throughout in little pockets. But my lamb's ear is gonna fill in this whole area and do really, really well. I planted it last year in the heat of the summer. This is not on irrigation and they took off. Like I said, as did the weeds, but that's all right. We all deal with weeds. Now, if you look back from a distance, all you see is that beautiful yellow violas. There's a couple of weeds in here as well, y'all. You know what Jenny's gonna be doing the next couple of weeks. Be in here weeding like crazy. But look, do you see those tulips? Look at them. Oh my goodness, it's so exciting. So Jerry and I, when we planted these, you might remember we had a little bit of a discussion. And his thought was that he wanted to have them more on like the back of the bed. And I was like, no, I want to have them like popping up out of the middle of the violas because this is big apricot, and big apricot is obviously a very large bloom, beautiful pinky red apricot color. And so I thought it would be really fun to have those popping up in the violas. It's going to be spectacular, but I've got to get in here and get these weeds out. My violas took a massive hit with that Arctic blast. They looked dead. I did literally nothing to them. I have not fertilized them. I have not watered them because heaven knows we get enough rain around here. But I might, just to encourage more blooms, so that way they'll be in full bloom when my tulips are in bloom, I might come back like with some Proven Winners, like the liquid, the annual feed, and feed them after I get my weeds out. So that is an update on that. Super exciting. And then over here, again, did not show you this, but this is when Kelly, Randy, and Jackson were out here planting. This was the second wave of, jonquils that we put in. And look at these sweet things. Are they not beautiful? This is what I love. This is iconic. Maybe other places, I live in the South, so this is what I know. Iconic southern spring is when your jonquils are blooming. Look at this. I love this one. I'll have to find the name of it for you. Big, huge, beautiful. Again, what we did was we used that power planter auger, the 3-gallon, did a nice huge hole, and then put, again, it was only like 5 or 6, but because the bulbs were so massive, you can see how many like stems and were coming out of one bulb. So just, are they not beautiful, y'all? Look at that. Brenda says, I like them. Oh, let me smell the flowers. Oh yes, she agrees. So those are beautiful. And then we did a nice little petite one, the same color scheme, but very much smaller. And again, y'all, this is, oh, the weeds. If people tell you they don't have weeds in their garden, they're just lying. Look at that. Look at that. So stinking sweet. I tell you what, I think, and rightly so, right? So many of us just adore spring so much because we've had a long winter, especially if you live in Colorado where people have all that crazy snow. Still cannot wrap my mind around having that much snow all the time. We're spoiled definitely here in the South. But if you've had a long, cold, dreary winter, when you see these signs of spring and then knowing that summer is coming along, it just makes you happy. I mean, if you can't look at a daffodil, jonquil, and not smile, there's something wrong with you. Yes, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. All right, so coming over here to the berm. Again, weeds, y'all. Weeds are coming. We did lots of different, I think there was 3 different varieties of jonquils here. These 2 on the side of the berm will complement each other nicely. And then the one down by the cherry tree, the plum tree rather, is a different color palette. I have not seen these up close. Obviously they are just beginning to wake up. Oh, look at that. And if you missed that video when Jerry and I planted these, I will link it and you can go back and take a look at that. Now, Russian sage. I have my Russian sage in here, both sides of the berm. Now is the time to prune it because you can see it is shooting all of that new growth. So I will be doing that. I will show you how I prune that Russian sage. Super excited to see that it is doing well and coming back because Russian sage does not like it wet, and we have notoriously wet winters here in the Southeast. Colorado and all you other places, you get snow, we get rain and rain and more rain. And so to see that they did not drown and doing quite well makes me very happy. Coming on the other side of the berm, we have some sedums that are doing, look at that. Aren't they happy? So you can see right where Brenda went through the flower bed that these 3 I had already pinched back the old growth. These 2 I have not. And y'all, it is super simple. All you do is come right here, right? So this is last year's growth and it just snaps right off. So you can just come in there and snap it off and clean up the plant, and then you just have that beautiful tight mound of foliage. Again, nice to see that those are very happy because sedums hate to have wet feet as well. More weeds. Russian sage doing well here. These jonquils are a little bit behind. That's all right. Extends my season with the blooms, so they are doing well. Oh, look. Oh, the Weigelia. This is the Vino Verde. I did not know. Look. It too is waking up. Look at that. Oh, it's so exciting. Arctic Blast. I mean, took out my loropetalum big time. Not sure what I'm gonna do with that. Just full disclosure, I might replace them just because it might take me so long to recover. Obviously getting in here, taking care of the weeds. Oh, look at this is Sweet Talker, viburnum. Supposed to be an evergreen. Arctic Blast defoliated it, but she is coming back nice and strong. A beautiful evergreen viburnum from Proven Winners. Sweet Talker is for the southern climates. She is a very early bloomer and will get nice and tall, beautiful fall foliage, gorgeous. And then again, we came in here, you can see the little different pockets of the jonquils in here. Those are all nice big This whole section right here is all the same jonquil. I think there's 200, 300 jonquils in here, and they are doing quite nicely. My butterfly bushes, this is Pugster Pinker. It is looking very nice as well, very happy. And then this is the Thunder Cloud Purple Plum, and has not even been in the ground 6 months, 7 months, doing quite nicely. If you want a flowering tree, you might want to consider this one, Thunder Cloud Purple Plum. It reminds you of like a cherry tree, but then the foliage, as you can see, is going to be a beautiful, dark, almost a black foliage. Really happy. And for the first year, again, not even a full year in the ground, and she looks like this, I'll take it. Is she in full spectacular glory right now? No. Is she going to be in a couple of years? Yep, she sure is. So that's all right. We're going to leave her alone. We'll fertilize her come springtime. I don't need to prune her. There's nothing for me to prune right now on her. So we're going to leave her alone, and she's going to be very happy. And then my other two, I've got 2 Yoshino cherry trees, kind of mimicking on each side, balancing out that purple plum. They're not blooming yet, but look, they do have lots of buds on them. Let's see. Can you see that? Yep. So it will not be long, and they too will be blooming. But you can see, you know, back towards the house, you've got yellow, yellow. Oh, so fun to wake up and to see all of these fantastic plants waking up as well from, you know, a winter's slumber. So get out there, unless you're covered in 6 feet of snow, like my friends in Colorado. So get out there, explore, because especially here in the South, things are changing rapidly. Every day, something else is waking up, showing you some growth, giving you signs, telling you, you know, what they need you to do, or just all sorts of fun things. So get out there in your garden and have fun. I have got some weeding to do for the next week or two. So I will be busy out here weeding my little heart out. The best advice I can give for weeding is get them while they're little, get them while they're young. If you can do it like after a rainstorm, that certainly helps. They will come out a lot easier. And just don't let it get too out of control. If you get it too out of control, then it is very overwhelming and you feel defeated. So just pick a spot, like over there at the violas. I'm gonna probably knock that one out first because I wanna get that cleaned up so those tulips will really shine. So pick a spot, pick a section, do that, feel accomplished. Yes, I got that one done, and then move on. All right, y'all. I've got some fun things to do out in the garden today. So y'all have a great day. As always, thanks so much for growing with Creekside. I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye, friends.